Me too.
Representative Munoz's office, this is Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. I hate to keep bothering you with this Arrogant Apes. I had a quick question for your office. Do y'all condone the violation of Alaska statutes to equal protection under the law, which is also written in the 14th Amendment? Because that's
Sir, I went through this with you on the phone last time, and unfortunately, I don't condone it.
Okay, then why is it happening to me and my wife? And y'all are just saying y'all are not going to do anything when you are.
Sir, would you let me put you on hold, okay?
Mhm.
Eric, this is Terry.
Yes, hello, Terry. How are you doing today, sir?
We've spoken before in the past.
Yes, I have a very I'm a kind of guy. When I grew up in school, I was taught to question everything, and it seems when you do that in this day and age, you get chewed out or accused of threatening people, and it only makes me wonder what they have to hide when they act that way. But my question is, me and my wife are being denied our rights to equal protection under the Alaska statutes, as well as the 14th Amendment of the U.S. We do have proof now where the Ombudsman's office did aid my wife in getting somewhere when we lost our baby, when her primary health care provider at the search clinic in Hoonah did nothing about it, knowing it was an emergency and having the records from Bartlett ER Hospital. And that's when the Ombudsman stepped in. That is an Alaska statute violation as a Class A felony. Now, when this person did that, and then we also have proof where they did also commit another violation of the statute, which is a murder of an unborn child in this whole process with other hearings and everything. Well, I'm wondering how they are then allowed to attack me for denying me health care for my disabilities while they were exacerbated, and then putting me on a form of chemo, which is making my moods even more exacerbated, and then denying me health care, and everybody in the state treating me horribly because of my exacerbations when all I'm trying to do is get proper health care. And I'm being attacked, and I'm just wondering where my equal protection in the law in any of this is. I mean, even having a law judge attack me for my disability while on a form of chemo, showing in my medical records my disabilities and what the chemo will do to my disabilities and my moods, and I'm still being attacked for it. That seems a bit discriminatory.
I'm sorry to hear all that, Eric.
I have proof our baby was basically murdered, and nobody's doing nothing. And I'm just wondering, I'm just appalled that the state's just allowing this attack because of a false accusation and something I brought up to your offices before any of these attacks started about my innocence of something I have on my records or that I shouldn't have on there, and they're using that to justify the cause. And I did reach out to your offices a long time ago before any of this happened to say I need to have this matter seen about before I get attacked. That's what you have. Your offices have records of as well as I do.
What other offices have you contacted in the legislature, Eric? Any other offices? Just curious.
Ombudsman, Lieutenant Governor, Governor. What is their name? Hold on. Human Rights, which denied me my human rights. The Disability Law Center, which attacked me for my disabilities. Alaska Legal Services said they would help and withdrew. Let me see who else. People up in Anchorage over behavioral health, where I'm trying to get him back into my counseling. You know, I'm supposed to be in counseling, on behavioral health counseling on this chemo too for my disabilities. I'm getting pushed in a corner here, sir, and then I'm being made to be a monster. I've talked to Office for Victims' Rights and asked them a question basically like I asked you, and the man just became belligerent and attacked me, and then hung up the phone on me when I told him it was taped. And then when I called back, his supervisor over the Office of the Victim's Rights then threatened me and said it was me, not him. And if you doubt that allegation, it is on YouTube. Look up Alaska Office for Victims' Rights. There's 2 calls, probably 5 minutes both, in full duration length, if that. And it does show that. And that's what I've been dealing with, people twisting the tables on me, saying it's me, when I'm showing that I'm being calm and trying to be polite to people, but I'm also have my disabilities. I'm on chemo, and my moods are fluctuating. And I'm also in pain from vehicle wrecks, needing reconstructive knee surgery, my arthritis that I'm being neglected for also. And I have a speech disability, so when I talk, people hear my pain, and they mistake it for anger when I'm just in agony right now. My whole body aches. I've got damage to my neck, my back from a very horrid car wreck where it did push my vertebrae down, and I do have pinched nerves and all kinds of stuff going on. I even have nerve damage.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm trying to get help for this, and then they do this to my wife, and I help my wife out, file reports with the nurses licensing board before this party attacked me in the lower court saying I was stalking them, which I wasn't. They have yet to have the burden of proof of that, but what I do have a burden of proof of is medical neglect against me, a disabled man, for 6 months.
What?
Neglect on my wife's health care. And we're being attacked here, sir. And I'm just trying to get health care that I was assured, and I'm trying to enjoy my liberties, which I have not yet to do, except for maybe the first 2 months or 3 months we were in Alaska before all this has transpired. That's why I reached out to your offices and explained that I'm an innocent man and people may start attacking me with my health and everything. And guess what? I called it exactly how I knew it might happen. That's why I reached out to your office from the beginning. To show.
Well, let me ask you this, Eric. Is there any other legislative office that you've contacted on this issue?
Let me see. I contacted D.C.
No, legislative office, like your Senator Stedman, who you're in his district.
I've tried to reach out to Stedman. I've reached out to Murkowski.
No, I'm talking state of Alaska, state legislature. So you've contacted Senator Stedman. That's correct.
I've tried.
Okay, you didn't make any actual.
I might have spoke to his aide if I remember right.
Okay.
And then I spoke to Lisa Murkowski's office.
How about Jonathan Christ Tompkins' office? Have you spoken to them by any chance? That's your House legislator who represents Hoonah.
What was that name? I didn't.
Jonathan Christ Tompkins, excuse me.
Oh, Tompkins, okay. No, I haven't. I've reached out to Senator Dan Sullivan, Senator Lisa Murkowski, which they're aware even when I came in contact with your office about my innocence and the deprivation of my rights, which would show grounds for immediate release and remedy by the state of Alaska when I do have the burden of proof to show that this allegation even now was a double jeopardy clause, and they have yet to provide the burden of proof to have that that charge on my record. I'm being denied plane travel, which they're taking federal reimbursements to fly medical people, and I'm being denied that too. There's an ongoing investigation with the FCC, DOT department. FAA DOT department. My grandfather was a pilot. That's how I know who to contact, what to do. I used to fly with my granddad in little planes.
Well, who are you getting your medical treatment from currently?
Nobody. I'm lucky that the meds that were prescribed to me before I was kicked out of the only clinic in Hoonah was a 3-month supply, or I would be struggling, but I don't even have all my disability medications or all my medications. I have a part of them, a fraction of them. I take a lot of different meds. It sounds kind of odd for someone young as me to say that, but I've been through a lot in my life. But I'm basically my own doctor, sir, with people's names on the prescription that prescribes them that are not monitoring me, even on this chemo. I'm my own doctor because I met with a medical doctor. He told me to get labs done. If my labs came back good, which they did, he said move forward on my treatment. So that's what I did. And then that's from an MD. Now, when a nurse practitioner says, no, you can't do that, I said, well, that's not what me and the EMD discussed and agreed upon.
Then you called him again.
And then I called him again, and he confirmed it. And then nobody would get me anywhere to get my blood monitored for the first 2 months I was on chemo. It was as it's in my dictation to do so. I had to pay almost $3,000 that I had to borrow just to get somewhere to get my blood checked. Then I found out I had low hemoglobin and a few other things. I could have been internally bleeding, but I wouldn't know because nobody would get me anywhere.
Eric, let me ask you a question here.
Yes.
What's the most important thing that you need to get done today? I mean, you've just listed about 20 things that you've got a problem with.
Well, it's all tied into one. It's tied into search. I need to kick search out of Alaska. Because
now hold up again there, Eric.
Because I am in.
We're not going to be able to kick search out of Alaska.
I am in a U.S. court case with them right now. I didn't know if you're aware of that.
So you have a lawsuit filed with them, is that correct?
I have against them for their actions that they've done to me and my wife. Yes, sir, that is correct. You
have a lawyer involved?
I'm waiting. How can I get one? I'm disabled. Disability Law Center won't help me because of my disabilities and exacerbation of them. Alaska Legal Service is the same. So you tell me where my equal protection in the law is.
So you filed a lawsuit on your own accord. Does that sound right?
Pro se, yes, sir. And it was opened. I'm just waiting on the other two motions I supplied to be answered to.
They run the clinic there, and you're trying to get access to health care there.
And they're denied. Well, I have on YouTube that I even have the meeting where, the clinic supervisor that doesn't live here but supervises this clinic assured me health care here. 4 days later gives me a criminal trespass because of his primary care provider had 2 complaints wrote against her by the state licensing board with proof of medical neglect against my wife and me. Neglect while my wife was pregnant, neglect in the loss of our baby in April, and it's appalling, sir. And then now we're just being attacked.
What's the link to that video that you're talking about? Do you have a link handy or anything? How would you
look me up on YouTube, Eric Mapes, and there's a slew of videos. They're all titled. You'll see. I mean, I have a lot of things I could be putting out there, but I am a fair person, sir, and I like to show, signs of good faith to parties. But when people take it a little too out of hand, then I have to, document it. And, and that's because I'm being attacked for my disabilities. And certain things I will put out there that are creditable, that are showing actual violations of crimes in the state of Alaska. Like one of them's a call to the ombudsman, where the ombudsman did admit that they aided my wife in getting her to her procedure to remove the baby after the baby had been dead in her for almost 3 weeks. Or when Huna Clinic was supposed to aid in that, and they did not aid in that. The ombudsman stepped in. That's a violation of Alaska statute. I can name you the statute if you like. But it says if you've caused someone physical injury, put them at risk of physical injury, leaving a dead baby in a woman can be a risk of death. That's a risk of death, physical injury, showing that there was a Class A felony committed then, and even on a hearing we had about my wife's travels for while she was pregnant, where her primary care provider didn't step in and speak on her behalf also, which is called, murder of an unborn child in the Alaska statutes, which I was like, wow, I love this law because this protects children, and that's a good thing. And, we have proof of that. I mean, like solid proof. I'm not just saying this to allegate it, sir. I'm saying this because I might have a tainted past, but one thing on my past shouldn't be there, and that's what I contacted your office about. And that even my documents showing I'm innocent are on Facebook or Google Plus under Gross Injustice Petition for Innocence. It shows the actual forensic evidence showing I didn't do nothing. The state of Texas used double jeopardy to charge me with it, and I've actually been working on that for quite some time, and it is being heard. But it's U.S. court level is my next where I'm going to, and I'm waiting on some attorneys out of New York to say I'm waiting on them. It's a nonprofit, Innocence Project of New York. They're helping me in this because I show cause where the DNA shows I didn't do nothing and I was charged as double jeopardy, and which grants me immediate relief by any state I'm in, especially when I'm being attacked for that same charge, which I have been. And there are Juneau district court records even proving that statement. You know, and
one of the challenges that we have here in the legislature, the state legislature, is once something gets litigated in a court situation, we're not generally in a position to be able to get involved.
But the problem is, the lower courts allowed a false litigation by somebody administering false evidence. And
so
see, that's
I remember discussing all of this with you before, and we've been at a loss to imagine what it is we could try to do to help you.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's a big mess, a big headache.
I understand that.
Excuse me. And it's tearing my wife up because somebody committed crimes against her. My wife has a squeaky clean record, and this person committed 2 felonies on her, and they're not doing nothing about it. You know, her mom's 27 years in the nursing profession. Her uncles are police in Indiana. So I am just wondering why they're even wondering. You know,
is there anyone you've contacted that's been able to offer you any assistance whatsoever?
To help me legally, no. I'm fighting for myself, sir, and I'm waiting.
In any way, any form or fashion, is there anyone you've reached out? You mentioned you reached out to quite a number of people.
Well, I know that there's investigations open, but I don't know the dispositions of them and what's being done. They're dragging their feet, which I know they have a lot of caseloads probably, so that's warranted then. But I'm just trying to figure out in the meantime, I'm just getting jammed up every time. Like I had a clinic for my pain, you know, and it's non-narcotic pain place. That's what I chose because I don't believe in the narcotic pain meds. They're bad for your body. And then they just used my disabilities today and my moods to attack me. And then they were using my medical records from the people that...
Who is they, Eric?
All gone.
I'm sorry?
All gone. ALGONE in Juneau. Their clinic supervisors telling me they're not going to see me because this other practitioner who's lying in the courts saying I'm making threats. I didn't realize asking questions and asking about my patient's rights, asking about the Hippocratic Oath, or asking about disability rights is a threat. And then when I did tell her I have served you with a complaint on your license, that's not a threat. That's called common courtesy. You have to tell someone you've been served. Am I wrong, sir?
Mm-hmm.
And when I did that, they took that as a threat. Now it's in my medical records that I threatened somebody when I'm trying to handle this legally. I've been reading and researching law since 1998, and I'm still doing it today, all because of a false conviction and finding that it still gives grounds and has no statute of limitations because of what happened and how it happened. And I've been studying and studying and studying and studying Harvard, Yale, Cornell. I mean, English Bill of Rights, 1689, laws from the 1200s, laws from all the way back before Roman times, BCE era laws and everything. And then since I moved to Alaska, I've been reading up on you guys' statutes and your laws and everything because I like to be within the means of the law. I don't want to be out violating them. I don't want to go violate them against another person. I'm just trying to live peacefully and have a family like me and my wife had planned to when we moved up here, when I reunited her with her dad. That's why we're here. Her dad hadn't seen her. She hadn't seen him. I brought her up here after so many years because that's what my wife wanted, and it was a late anniversary and wedding present. And I thought that's the best present I can give my wife. And, you know, she has a half-sister here. We have family here. And then now we're just getting treated this way.
Well, you know, Eric, I tell you what I'm going to do with this for now.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions, and then I got to go.
Yes, sir.
How could we reach out to you if we needed to contact you for what your phone number doesn't show up here? So
it should be still the same one on file. Y'all should have.
What would that be?
419-6240.
Okay, that's 419-6240. Let me. Here's what's going on, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
You have a very complex situation there that's beyond what I can do on the phone right now. So I'm going to talk to my employer about it and share some of this information and try to get some guidance and direction, and then we'll we'll see what we can do from there, okay?
Yes, sir, and that's why I came to your office. I think it was around late November, early December, maybe January.
Yeah.
And I brought up that I'm innocent and something needs to be done, and there's proof something should have been done then, but I'm not holding y'all accountable for that. I'm just saying
I know.
Because of
no,
that,
we were aware of that. I appreciate that, and we're aware of that. We just
because of that, though, look what I'm dealing with behind it.
I know. Okay, Eric. I've taken some notes here, and I'll talk to my employer about it.
Well,
I'll try to return back to you as soon as I possibly can, and see if I can come up with some ideas that might help.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Good day.